Breast cancer is the most commonly discussed disease among women. Approximately 1 in every 8 women in the United States have some form of breast cancer. There were more than 1.7 million recorded cases in 2012. So, what is cancer? Breast cancer occurs when the breast cells go out of control. It is a disease of abnormal gene function. Let's quickly look back at what we studied in biology class this semester. Genes are the building blocks of the DNA, the code that is present in each and every cell in our body. They contain the blueprints that determine how our body functions. They control most of our physical traits and characteristics, such as eye and skin color. Genes are also responsible for the inheritance of genetically transmittable diseases by succeeding generations. All cancers result from a mutation, which is an unintended alternation of certain genes of a cell. There is 2 ways that the mutation can be present in our bodies. An inherited mutation comes from our parents when during reproduction the fertilized egg forms a cell called a zygote. This cell divides and the result is a fetus, which will eventually become the baby. The DNA in the fetus is, therefore, present in every one of the person's cells, and the mutation can be passed on to the next generation. A somatic mutation, also called acquired, is not present in the zygote and cannot be passed on through eggs or sperm because it forms after a person is born. It occurs in one cell in the body that then divides, creating more cells with the same mutation. Acquired mutations are the reasons for most cancers and are more common than inherited mutations. BRCA1 and BRCA2 are the 2 specific genes that are responsible for the inheritance or development of breast cancer in the human body. BRCA1 and BRCA2 are genes that produce tumor suppressor proteins. These are a type of proteins that either slow down cell division, repair DNA mistakes, or tell cells when to die, thus ensuring that the cell's genetic material is stable. If a mutation that stumbles the production or function of this protein occurs, cells have a higher chance of developing other genetic alterations which lead to cancer. Mutations of the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes that are inherited tend to develop breast and ovarian cancers in females at younger age compared to their somatic acquired counterparts. Inherited mutations of these genes can be acquired from both your mother and your father, so children whose parents are carriers of the harmful mutations have a 50% chance of inheriting them. These alternations are a dominant trait, so their effects can be seen even if only one copy of a person's genes is affected. BRCA1 and BRCA2 have a huge impact on the likelihood of a woman developing breast cancer. While 12% of women in the general population are affected by this disease, 45 to 65% of women who exhibit the harmful effects of the mutation in one of the 2 genes are suffering from form of breast cancer. The different types of breast cancer, based on when and where they first occurred, are classified in different ways. It is categorized by non-invasive, that hasn't spread from the originating tissue and is at the earliest stage, or invasive, also called infiltrating, that has spread to the surrounding tissue and has reached a later stage of development. The type of tissue that is originally affected defines the type of cancer. The most common type, ductal carcinoma, forms in the lining of the milk ducts. Lobular carcinoma is formed in the lobules, where milk is produced, and the rarest type of breast cancer, sarcoma, is developed in the breast's connective tissue. Breast cancer doesn't necessarily have very apparent signs in its early stages, but there are still a few things that are worth looking out for. These include, most importantly, a lump in the breast, especially one that is hard and irregularly shaped, a change in the shape of the nipple, or its discharge. Other symptoms may include unexplained redness, irritation, or a rash on the breast, as well as post-period breast pains or swelling in the armpits. Some of the signs that occur during later stages of breast cancer include an increase in the size of the lump or breast, vaginal pain, unintended weight loss, visible veins on the breast, and more. Inflammatory breast cancer is a rare type of cancer that spreads faster than other types and does not form a distinctive lump. Instead, The skin looks red, has a different texture similar to that of an orange peel or a rash, and feels warmer. Identifying breast cancer as early as possible will make it easier to treat and more likely to be cured. The mammogram, which is kind of X-ray, as well as ultrasound and MRI, and all ways to safely detect the presence of a tumor inside a person's body. In the US, women above the age of 45 are advised to get a yearly mammogram and even MRI testing if their doctor decides they carry a higher risk of developing the disease. Breast biopsy is a very reliable way of determining whether a lump is cancerous. A sample of the lump is taken for testing in a lab, and the results show whether the lump is cancer and what type of cancer it is. Through biopsy, a cancer can be identified as hormone sensitive, meaning that it is fueled by certain hormones that fuel the growth of the tumor. Approximately 2/3 of all breast cancers are hormone sensitive, but the effect of the proteins on the cancer cell receptors can be stopped through several types of medication. Family members, both men and women, who have either inherited breast cancer or developed it after the age of 50 drastically increase a person's chance of having an abnormal breast cancer gene. Known carriers of the same or other types of cancer in the family have the same effect. Also, being an Ashkenazi Jewish descendant or a member of a few other ethnic groups, including the Norwegian, Dutch, and Icelandic population, will constitute a higher composition of harmful BRCA1 and BRCA2 mutations. There are a few ways you can decrease the risk of developing breast cancer. Breastfed children have a lower risk of breast cancer, and maintaining an exercising routine and keeping fit will have the same effect. High alcohol consumption and the usage of birth control pills can increase the risk, so it's advised to cut back on these practices. There are a few ways of treating breast cancer, although their effectiveness somewhat depends on the stage that the tumor is in. Surgery can either be applied in order to take away areas beside the lump or in order to remove the entire breast, thus limiting the spread of the tumor. Chemotherapy, the use of often injected drugs to kill cancer cells, is an effective way to shrink bigger tumors, reduce the chances of a cancer coming back after surgery, and in some cases control the cancer's growth. But it has severe side effects such as nausea, fatigue, loss of hair, and a heightened risk of infection. Radiation therapy uses rays to kill cancer cells and is usually applied after a surgery or in combination with chemotherapy in order to treat cancer that has spread to multiple parts of the body. Some of its side effects are swelling and exhaustion, as well as a sunburn-like pain at the location of the treatment. Hormone therapy is applied to women who experience hormone-sensitive breast cancer or show a high risk of developing one, usually after surgery in order to keep the cancer from resurging, or as a preventive measure to protect women who are more likely to acquire the mutation in the future. The chances of beating breast cancer are directly connected to the stage in which it was found and how fast it was treated. According to the American Cancer Society, 100% of the women with stage 4 breast cancer live at least another 5 years. But this number falls the more advanced the tumor is. In stage 4, the estimated number of women surviving for another 5 years is down to 22%. Visiting the National Breast Cancer Foundation webpage could help you get a better understanding of what breast cancer actually is and would give you additional information on how to get tested. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Show your support.